let's start. And I want to welcome you here today for the session, SAP Hybrid Integration with SUSE. Before I go into the agenda and details, I want to introduce myself. My name is Kevin Klinger. I'm with SUSE since 2020, working on all related topics of Kubernetes together with and at SAP. And the idea for today was that we'll talk about what is SAP Hybrid Integration and what do you need it for. Then I will tell you what SUSE brings to the table, so how we come into play here. And for those who are interested how to start things here, I'll give you some information as well. So what is SAP Hybrid Integration and what do you need it for? Just out of curiosity, who of you here in the audience uses SAP PIPO, Process Integration, Process Orchestration? Okay, great. Thanks. So the story here is PIPO is already in place. It's for a while on the market, and it's used for all various kinds of integrations, B2B, SAP to non-SAP, SAP to SAP, and so on. Those who are running it will know even better than I do. The issue with this is just it will run end of life in 2027. And after that, customers need to migrate. And now the question is, what comes next? What is the successor of PIPO? And the answer is, it's SAP Integration Suite. The thing with SAP Integration Suite is that it's a fully as a service offering, means it's cloud-based. And just to give you an overview, this is a kind of busy slide, to be honest. Yeah. What I just wanted to show you is, again, it's the successor of PIPO, so it covers, again, all things of the SAP apps that we have you can integrate. You have the B2B, you have the third-party apps. You have a lot of connectors as you're used with PIPO. And what we are going to talk today is the Edge Integration Cell, that's the bottom part here, which is for ground-to-ground integration or hybrid integration. This means if you're not interested in fully going to the cloud or to SAP BTP, you can choose to run your systems and your integration wherever you want it to be. So we have this Edge Integration Cell, which is an extension of the SAP Integration Suite, which gives you exactly this capabilities. You can run offline for a certain while. You can set it up wherever you need it. I will talk a little bit about the use cases that SAP as well identified in a couple of minutes, so you can see what's the idea and where to use it probably in the best way. But just to give you this as a basic knowledge, so we have Edge Integration Cell as an extension for an cloud offering, and you can run it anywhere. The key use cases, as said, that SAP identified. I'll make this kind of quick. We have 5 major key use cases here. The first one would be if you're really on the edge, so talking about you have like a ship somewhere in the ocean, you have satellites, and for some reason you want to integrate them with other systems that you have, you would have the need to maybe not be fully connected to the cloud all the time, 24/7. You may have some downtime. First use case. The second one is restrictions and regulations. I don't know, maybe some of you are in the military sector, health sector, insurance sector, and you say, dear SAP, I cannot push all my data to the clouds, not to the public clouds. I have data that is very, very specific. I don't want to hand it out. It needs to be in my safe environments where I define the standards of security. That's the second use case. Third one is if you're not want to do a full transition from PIPO to Integration Suite at once, yeah, you can set up the Edge Integration Cell side by side with PIPO and do a continuous migration from PIPO to Edge Integration Suite or Edge Integration Cell. Number 4 is the APIs. You might have systems that cannot connect to the cloud. They're like in your data center somewhere and they have no connectivity to cloud and not, or either the way back. Therefore, you can use the Edge Integration Cell. You run it in your safe environment. It can integrate with all of the systems, all APIs there. And number 5 is latency. So let's imagine you have a very big system. Yeah, I'll just make a made-up example. You have a retail store online and you have a Black Friday. There are billions of transactions coming into your systems in an hour. So you have a lot of load. If you push all this data from your environments to the cloud, this means you have a lot of traffic. This means high latency. You can reduce it by saying, okay, I will use the integration in my safe environment. I put it into wherever I have my systems, and by that I reduce the latency. Talking about the concept or the architectural view for Edge Integration Cell, it's like at the top you can see here the SAP BTP, that's the Business Technology Platform, and the SAP Integration Suite is a part of this BTP. As said, it's a SaaS offering, so as a service. We now do have at the dotted line here, that's the core or the boundary. We leave the BTP and go to your edge nodes, as SAP is calling it. That means everything outside of BTP. By the way, this can also mean that your edge is on AWS. It can be in Azure, it can be on GCP, or in your data center, wherever you have it. And you have those edge nodes running a lifecycle manager of SAP, keeping track of is everything up to date and establishing the connection back to the cloud. And we then have the edge application, which is Edge Integration Cell for us here for the integration part. The thing where we get into play is it's all based on Kubernetes. So you need to bring a Kubernetes cluster in order to run the lifecycle management and the edge application. So, and now what does SUSE bring to the table? This is what a typical stack would look like. You somewhere have an operating system on your hardware running. You then need the Kubernetes cluster. That's a requirement, mandatory requirement from SAP. You need some components on top for storage, for networking, for databases, which are as well mandatory by SAP. And once you have that, your infrastructure is settled to run the SAP Edge Integration Cell. For us, this looks like as follows. We recommend using a SL micro, so SUSE Linux micro, at the bottom for your operating system. I will talk about that in a minute. We put on top the RKE2, Rancher Kubernetes engine, that we bring as a Kubernetes distribution, so to say. We bring Longhorn to the table for your storage, so we can enable your storage to be used by Kubernetes. And we have three more mandatory requirements, which is Redis and Postgres as databases. They are a mandatory requirement by SAP. You cannot leave them away yet. In Q3, they're planning to enable SAP HANA support. So you then could use HANA together with the Edge Integration Cell. All right, what does it look like if you want to set it up? More landscape architectural view. For us, it's like you have a Rancher cluster at the top here that consists of 3 machines, so you have high availability. If one goes down, you're still capable of running. And you have your workloads cluster that are exclusively used for the Edge Integration Cell, one for production and maybe another one for QA or development, where you again have those control plane and worker nodes. For those who are not that experienced with Kubernetes, we can just say here at this part, every of those green and orange boxes is a VM. All right, talking about the collaboration, SAP and SUSE, we are very close to SAP in regards to these edge applications. We do provide dev and test landscapes for SAP together with our partners, named on the right-hand side here. We bring together all the machines, we set up the landscapes, so for SAP, they can almost consume our Kubernetes as a service. And the great thing is that we, as said, we are very close to SAP engineering here, so we also support the SAP development teams. We give them feedback about how we see the world as Kubernetes experts, how we would like to cooperate and go ahead here, this new journey for SAP further. And of course, we are validated. We validate every version of Kubernetes that you can have with SAP Edge Integration Cell. It's always 4 validated Kubernetes versions. That's the cycle. This is the current cycle from 127 to 130. We validated all of those. You can see there's competition, but I don't want to go into detail there. All right, I was talking about SUSE Linux Micro. That's the operating system that we would recommend using below the Kubernetes cluster, so to say, for the nodes. And why it is tailored for Kubernetes and container workloads. It's very lightweight, and it got a long support life cycle. We even have live patching support by now for SUSE Linux Micro, so you have, in the end, just a very lightweight operating system. You don't need a full-blown SLAS with thousands of packages. As said, you just want to run Kubernetes and container workloads. That's what it's tailored for. We have the Rancher for SAP applications. We do here have, in the end, a Rancher. I'll spoil you a little bit because this will be announced tomorrow in the keynotes. You will get further information. We have tailored a package with SUSE Rancher and all these components specifically for the SAP Edge use cases. And the great thing about Rancher is you can use it everywhere with every Kubernetes. It's a management tool for those who are not aware. You can manage and create Kubernetes clusters very easily, you have a user interface that's very friendly, so you don't need the expertise in Kubernetes to do the basic stuff. We do have a trusted supply chain, which means we do check all the Rancher components on a frequent basis to make sure you get a very secure solution here as well. Talking about RKey 2, as said, it's Rancher Kubernetes Engine 2. That's our, so to say, Kubernetes distribution. In the end, it's all you need to know. It's just a Kubernetes distro. It's very secure by default. It was started with the requirements for government agencies and organizations with very strict security requirements. That's what it was tailored for, and that's what we validated with SAP as well. We do bring SUSE storage. As said, you will need to bring your storage into Kubernetes, but it's not like I'm sticking in a disk and here we go. You need a provisioner in Kubernetes, and I don't want to go into the very details because I guess most of you are not that experienced to follow me, and I will talk like a different language to you. But what you should keep in mind is you need to provide the storage, and of course it should be in a way that it's scalable and reliable. And with SUSE storage we bring exactly this. We have a solution that is tailored and was designed for Kubernetes workloads. We have the application collection as a cherry on the top. It's like a secure registry where you can get your images and applications that you need, like Redis and Postgres from. The great thing about it, you always get the SBOM, so the software bill of material. You can always see what's inside those applications, and if there's a new CV on the market and you're unsure, am I affected by this? You can check it out. We do a frequent vulnerability scan and antivirus scan, so you get also a secure image here. If you're interested, I think at Demopalooza they will show this very great and visualize this. So if you're interested in this, stay tuned. And it's a growing thing. This is already outdated. I think it already grew up to around 70 applications. Yeah, so it's a big thing. And as I said, it's growing, growing, growing. If you as a customer have requirements, our application collection team is very happy to take some feedback of what's missing, what you would like to see in there. So please reach out. For those who are not aware of what does Rancher look like, I prepared a demo, because what we experienced in the market is we see customers who are interested in Edge Integration Cell. And typically those are the SAP people, and they speak their SAP language. Then you tell them you need Kubernetes, and they have never dealt with Kubernetes because it was never required so far. No SAP application there, besides data intelligence, was ever running on Kubernetes. Now we start bringing SAP applications to Kubernetes, and you can see in the customer's face very often they have no idea what we're talking about. We're talking about pods, services, nodes, we're talking about load balancing, ingress, egress, and that's where actually Rancher can help a lot. But the question is, what does it look like? So I brought you this little demo for those who are not aware. This is what Rancher looks like. You have a user interface, you log in, you can see your already existing clusters, or you create one. You never created a Kubernetes cluster? Never mind. You can easily use the managed Kubernetes offerings by the cloud providers, or you can roll out even on machines on Azure, Amazon, or on any other machine saying, I want a custom one. I just give it a name up here, and I can select the Kubernetes version here that I want to roll out. You may have some specific requirements. You can do some expert things, changing container interfaces, having CIS profiles, and so on, but not necessarily required. You can change the networking, upgrade strategy, and so on. But in the end, you just hit create, and then you get a node role selection. In Kubernetes, we have the differentiation between control plane and worker nodes. Usually you split them. You saw that in the architectural overview. And what you get is then here a command that you just copy paste to whatever machine you want to have as a part of a Kubernetes cluster. You roll it out, and the Kubernetes cluster will show up here. Here was an updating state because there were no machines at that point. Of course, it needs to run through. But once it's there, it shows you, here's your Kubernetes cluster, just go ahead. That's how you install Kubernetes. If you have your Kubernetes and you want to manage it, you probably don't want to deal with all the new commands on a command line you have to learn. You can just click on a cluster to get there some information like what's the CPU usage, what's memory usage, what is running in there, what is going on in there. Yeah, what is currently, is there something wrong? Should I take any action? You can see it in a nice visualization. Yeah, you don't have to have that deep Kubernetes knowledge in the end. If you want to have even more information, especially for the nodes, more hardware level, you can also see it here. You get more information, what's the versions, the usage of a specific node, so virtual machine. And if that's not enough, you can go into the level of workloads, yeah, to see, hey, what's going on in the Kubernetes cluster. Those are the containers or pods. I can select to see less information, more information, maybe specific information. In this case, SAP Integration Cell. We have a few namespaces here. And I can check those out. Are they running? Is there an issue? How old are they? I get a list. I can define different namespaces in different views. Do I want to have all pods or not? And you can easily access those as well. So if there's something wrong, you can check the logs inside Kubernetes, what's going on there, instead of going to the console, connecting, and so on. And if that's not enough, you can even execute a shell if the container is capable of doing that. And you can run here commands inside those containers. So as said, the whole thing here is about showing you how easy it is with Rancher to take a look at your Kubernetes clusters and how to create them. Maybe some of you say, well, boring, I knew that already. But as I said, that's what we experienced in the market. A lot of SAP people don't have the idea of how to deal with Kubernetes. And that's what I recorded here in the end for those of you who are interested. If you have further questions to this, you can always come to the booth. In the end, I have here this application collection recorded as well. I named that, or I already stated it out, the secure application collection. You can install the Kubernetes applications that you need, like Longhorn, like Redis and Postgres, very easily here. You can just hit install. In Longhorn case, you even get like a guided installation. Yeah. So instead of running console, I need to hand over a lot of parameters or config files. You have this in a nice visualized way and have some guidance here. In the end, you just hit install and that's it. It will install into your Kubernetes cluster and then you can use it. If you want to start using SAP Integration Cell and need to set up the infrastructure, I would recommend to check out our best practice guide. This is a step-by-step guide, so it tells you what are the requirements, what do you need to bring to the table, and then really with every single command line step that you need to take, or even in Rancher, every mouse click that you have to take, it's in here for beginners, yeah, to start from scratch up to I'm ready to deploy Edge Integration Cell. Another thing that we're getting asked quite often is the thing of sizing. We have a really neutral opinion on this. It's about SAP workloads. So SAP is specifying what you need to bring to the table to run their product. And therefore is this official sizing guide. If you're interested, I would recommend you take a look there. And if you have questions, you can reach out to us or to SAP. We are there for you as well to help. All right, and that's already with my presentation.